The Downtown Rams podcast is brought to you by Rams On Demand, Seat Giant, Vibe 305, and RWO, Rams World Order. Now enjoy the show.
Down the middle, to the end zone, caught by Brandon Cooks. Shoot your arrows.
It's picks. Nickel Roby Coleman
throws. Enzo caught, touchdown. Tyler Higbee. Cooper Kupp walks it out of the air and gives the Rams the lead. LaMarcus Joyner returns to the lineup with an interception in London. 35-30. Robert Wood, first down 20. 10-5. Touchdown. LA! No, it's Goff who keeps it. And Goff goes crashing into the end zone. Aaron Donald almost beat the football there and comes away with his third sack of the afternoon. Met immediately and sacked. Corey Littleton, have yourself a day. And he gets gobbled up. Savage has to eat it as Michael Brockers picks up the sack. He's decked by Ebu Tom. Picked off. Marcus Peters strutting his stuff. Mark Barron the last 4 weeks has been a Pro Bowler.
Oh, it's picked off on the play by John Johnson.
After the throw, and we mentioned that is his 8th completed pass in his career.
Cousins sacked. Ndamukong Suh.
Of all the guys, it's the rookie John Franklin Myers who knocks it out of Cousins' right hand.
Todd Gurley, 20, 10, Gurley for MVP.
Welcome back, guys, to another Downtown Rams podcast. It's episode 177. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen. Joining me, as always, is Alexis Kraft, and we are going to have Alabama offensive lineman Ross Pierschbacher. He is coming on the show. We can't wait. That's really going to be the show. It's another draft season episode, so hope you guys enjoy. And, of course, we will be back with some more Rams-centric coverage, but for now, enjoy NFL draft season Ross Pierschbacher. All right, guys, joining us on the Downtown Rams podcast, we have Alabama center Ross Pierschbacher. How's it going, man? Thank you so much for coming on.
It's going well, yeah. Thank you guys for having me. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, of course. We're really excited to get this thing rolling. And I guess just to start off, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about when you started playing football and how you got into it?
Started playing football in 5th grade, so that was the first year that we could put on pads. So played in 5th grade, and yeah, just growing up, I was always kind of the biggest kid in the school or my grade or whatever, and so just really enjoyed watching football growing up, and that was always my favorite sport just to start out with. And naturally, being the biggest kid, you just kind of get into it and kind of contact sports. So came, just came natural, and just really had a deep passion for it growing up. So
yeah, of course, and you'll be sooner or later you'll be headed in the NFL. I want to ask you, as a kid growing up, who was your favorite NFL football player?
Football player, man, that's kind of tough. I mean, I always liked watching the offensive line just because that's really the only position I've ever played. And being from Iowa, there's not a lot of guys from there, that you kind of hear from going to the NFL. So I always liked watching like Casey Wickman. He was the center for the Kansas City Chiefs for a long time, and the Broncos. And so I just like watching them. And then Kurt Warner, played for the Rams, and he played at the University of Northern Iowa, which is where I grew up. And so my parents still live there. So he's kind of a hometown hero a little bit. So we always liked watching him back in the day. Greatest show on turf. So
hey, we love that.
Yeah, absolutely. The greatest show on turf for sure was so fun to watch. I grew up going to all those games and really enjoyed that. But then, so you grew up and you were playing football, and eventually it came time for you to, play in college and make that decision. So what made you choose Alabama as your college football team?
Yeah, it was tough. When I went into it, growing up, it was basically just Iowa football was, that was kind of my dream to play for the Hawkeyes and go there. And so I committed there. I was committed there for about a year, and then Alabama offered, and went down and visited there, and I just kind of fell in love with the place and just really couldn't pass it up. I mean, I chose Alabama because I wanted to win and play at the highest level possible, and just kind of have no regrets going forward. Just kind of go big or go home mentality, and just see how things work out. And just push myself. So obviously things worked out very well, and really happy with my decision. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that was a really good decision, obviously. You're somebody that had a lot of success there, and I believe you would have had a lot of success in Iowa as well.
Right.
But regardless of where you went, Nick Saban actually said, for what I was doing some research, and I saw that Nick Saban thought that you were his favorite recruiting experience. I thought this was a really cool story because, he was talking about going through this awful snowstorm in like a rental car, and basically just traveling through all this, awful, weather conditions, just to go, basically for an in-home visit to see you. What are your thoughts on something like that? Because I'm sure you've probably already heard the story, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, for him to even remember that, it was kind of brought back some good, funny memories. But, no, it meant a lot for him to come up. Him and Coach Cristobal, who was the offensive line coach at the time, came up and flew in my small hometown. And, yeah, I mean, I don't think they go to Iowa a lot to recruit at all, so especially in the middle of winter. So that was a little bit out of Coach Saban's comfort zone. And, I mean, the dinner was great, and my high school coach is there, and they really enjoyed, his stories that he had to tell and everything like that. It was pretty awesome. So, but they had to head out early. They didn't want to get stuck in Cedar Falls, Iowa, at a Comfort Inn or something like that. So, yeah, they headed out early. Just didn't want to get caught in the snowstorm, but it was awesome.
Yeah, and so this is something that, I'm eager to bring up, but, you are the only college football player to start 4 consecutive national championship games. I mean, what is that like? I mean, you're in a league of your own in that regard, and it's a record. So what does that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're kind of going through it, you don't really think about it too much, just kind of, it comes with it. But I think looking back on it now, it's pretty remarkable just the amount of team success that we were able to have. I remember after it was the first year of the playoffs in 2014, and I was redshirted, so I wasn't playing, but I just remember when we lost to Ohio State in the semifinals, and I just thought to myself, I don't think we'll ever get this far again. I just remembered how much had to go right that year, and just like how much went into the season, and it just seemed like such a long, far shot. And so for us to, for me to start the next year and then playing 4 straight national championships is just something, I mean, that I couldn't have dreamt of. And it was an unbelievable experience. And for us to be able to win 2 of those, was awesome. Obviously would have, liked to win 4, but beggars can't be choosers. And so it was awesome, just the amount of team success that I had there.
Oh, for sure. And it must make this next question really difficult for you because, out of all the memories that you had there, what would be your favorite?
Memories. I mean, that first national championship still meant a whole lot to me, just because it was that first one, It was my first year starting. It was kind of the perfect storm. I mean, we had I was a freshman playing next to, 2 All-American guys, Ryan Kelly and Cam Robinson. We won the Joe Moore Award that year as the best offensive line unit. Derrick Henry won the Heisman, so SEC championship, and then just to top it off with national championship, I just remember the pretty high emotions during that game. And so I'd say that game, and obviously you look back to the Georgia game, second and 26, and so there's been some pretty special moments, but those 2 have to be, up there for sure. Just there's nothing quite like that feeling of, winning a national championship.
Yeah, of course, and you've, over the years been a part of great teams, and you've played with a lot of great players and guys who are playing at the next level and who are going to be playing at the next level. But who is the toughest player you ever went up against?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that's tough. There's a lot of notable guys over the years, but I think this might just be because it's the most recent, most fresh in my mind of in my nightmares the most. But Quentin Williams was pretty tough this year to block in practice. So that one stands out to me. For me to play in a new position, at center this year, he really pushed me to be going up against a guy like that in practice just really helped me grow as a center, as a player in general. And just he's super slippery, great get off, explosive. He's got great moves. Kind of Aaron Donald. Like, I'm not gonna say that he's not Aaron Donald or anything, but he definitely has the potential to be, and is that type of player, and a game changer for sure. So yeah, I mean, he's pretty tough.
Yeah, and then obviously you blocked for two great quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
What can you tell us about playing with those two, and how good do you think they both can be?
Yeah, I mean, those two dudes are just selfless, great character guys, awesome to be around, and just humble. So it makes playing for those guys and blocking and putting yourself out there for those guys pretty easy when, they take care of us, and they're just always super nice and friendly. But yeah, I mean, just both those guys' potential, with Jalen going to Oklahoma, Tua coming back. I mean, those guys, their ceiling is just so high, and it'll be interesting to see, how everything plays out with the NFL with those guys. And obviously, wish them nothing but the best. But I know it'll take them. Their character will take them far. So future's bright for sure for both of them.
Yeah, and you mentioned going up in practice against, Quentin Williams and guys like that. But I'm curious, who is the toughest competition that you ever went up against in a game from an opposing teammate?
Yeah, there's been a lot of great players. I always thought that Jeffrey Simmons was really good from Mississippi State. I always thought he was tough. One sticks out in my mind. I was a young player. I mean, this was back in 2015. We were playing Michigan State in the Cotton Bowl, and Malik McDowell, he tore into me pretty good that game. So that kind of has a bad taste in my mouth from that game, facing him, even though I think we won like 38-0, but I just felt sick to my stomach after that game about how bad I played. Going up against a good player. I mean, he was tall, strong, fast. He had a really good motor. Just wouldn't quit on the play. He is one that sticks out as well.
Yeah. Now, Ross, you had the opportunity to go to the Senior Bowl, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to link up with you when I was there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of guys there, so it was kind of hard to find you. But what was the whole opportunity and experience like?
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. I mean, just growing up and stuff like that, just being in the game of football, that's always one goal that you want to hit, is to go play in the Senior Bowl and play, against the best, and to showcase your talents in front of so many NFL, personnel and scouts, and try to impress. And so, for me, it was just a great opportunity to go show, kind of what I'm made up of, and just to prove myself as a player, and just to go out there and show, versatility, and just that I can, smart, lead, all that stuff that they all want to see. So, it's a great opportunity, and obviously glad that I participated in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I've been asking all the guys that have come on the show, just out of curiosity, is obviously you got to compete with a ton of great players at the Senior Bowl. Who, either in the Senior Bowl drills and practices or during the actual game, was the toughest guy you went up against?
There was a lot of tough guys. I'd say in practice, one guy that kind of stood out to me was the Texas A&M defensive tackle, Kingsley Keke. I thought that he had. I thought that he had a really good week. So thought he had a solid week. It was tough to block and super active. And so that was kind of one guy that stood out to me.
Yeah, I just had to show my appreciation of that because he's a friend of the show. So it was funny that you mentioned his name. But that being said, we talk about the toughest player and your overall experience at the Senior Bowl, but you also went to the Combine. What was that experience like?
Yeah, again, that was one of those things growing up where you're just like, God, these guys are at the top of the top, and just what do I have to do to get there? And so that was really cool, just being able to participate in that and just go through that week. And it was a long week, not gonna lie. I don't know what they could say before to prepare you for stuff like that, but it's just they kind of try to push you mentally and just lack of sleep and stuff like that, and then just see how you react and how you are able to perform, at your highest level. So, but I think it went really well. I'm happy with the numbers that I put up and everything like that. And so it was a great experience just being able to hang out with guys that you've seen, play, whether it be on film or on TV, just throughout the whole country, and being able to kind of put a face to a name. And so it was a great experience for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of guys that we've talked to about that, the Combine, have said sort of the same thing, how it was such a great experience, but there definitely is a lack of sleep and a lot of stress that goes on, obviously being in a situation like that. And but I'm sure that, the experience is special, and it's really cool that you got to go and do that. And it's something I know that you'll remember forever. But something that, I'm just curious, in your opinion, what is your biggest strength as a player?
A lot of teams, that's probably one of the first things that they ask. And I tell them, I think that I'm extremely versatile. Started 57 games and at 3 different positions on the interior. So I think that tough, smart, reliable, consistent. So that's usually the things that I say that are my strengths as a player.
And what do you think, in terms of not really a weakness, but something you feel like you really need to improve on? What would that be as far as, the next level?
Yeah, I think for me, just at center, just kind of, there's always just little things. And it's a whole different ball game at center than it is at guard in my mind. So I think for me, just, like little things where it's like if a guy's on your snap hand and getting your snap hand up quick and really just being able to shoot, your hand and just kind of little things, opening up my hip and trying to reach a guy, get my head across, and just little kind of technical things like that where always room to improve, especially at a newer position. So yeah, just looking to do that.
And this is just a fun question that we ask all the offensive linemen that we interview, just because we're curious. But who do you most want to stonewall in the NFL?
Who do I most want to stonewall?
Yeah.
Gosh, I haven't thought about this. I think are they gonna hear this or anything? Am I gonna have a bounty on my head as soon as I get in the league?
No, I don't think
so. Obviously you want to go against top guys and prove yourself. So I think you look at guys like J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, and stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty fun to. I wouldn't say fun to go against those guys because they tear it up and make it pretty hard on the offensive linemen. But if you were to have success against those guys, I think it'd be pretty special. Might need a couple guys to do it.
Yeah, not even triple teams work with Aaron Donald sometimes.
It's like, that's ridiculous. It's not even fair.
If you end up blocking for the Rams, you only have to go up against them in practice, I guess. So there's always that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we also ask this question, as far as the NFL, kind of a fun question. Who do you most want to block for in the NFL? Not necessarily a team, but like a quarterback, a running back, anybody stand out?
Man, I don't know. That's a tough question. if it was back in the day, I'd say like Peyton Manning or guys like that. I don't know.
It's a tough one.
That's tough. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of great personalities, a bunch of stand-up dudes. I think it'd just be. I mean, you think of a guy like Tom Brady, where you can argue that he's the greatest of all time, and just to be able to say that you played with him, and if you were able to, snap for him or whatever, I think that you probably hear some pretty cool stories and stuff like that. So I think Tom Brady would be the guy you could say.
Oh, for sure. That would be, absolutely incredible to be able to say that. And I think that's a great answer. And something that, we got to ask, we ask everyone who comes on the show because we are a Rams-based podcast. But have you met with the Los Angeles Rams yet, either formally or informally?
I believe informally. I did not meet with them formally. But I believe I have informally.
Nice.
Yeah. No, so it went well. Trying to remember who I talked to. I'm drawing a blank. It was like you're kind of just going from team to team for like 3 hours a night. So,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
Lost in the shuffle a little bit, but from what I remember, it went well. And actually, the Rams were the first NFL game I've ever seen this past year. I've never been to an NFL game until this season when you guys played the Cowboys in the playoffs. So that was a special moment.
Yeah, I bet that's crazy that this was your first year going, but I'm glad that your first game was the Rams, and I believe that game was in LA. Yep. So that's good, and yeah, it's funny how a lot of guys when we ask if they've met with the Rams, it seems like guys just it is you get lost in the shuffle. Sometimes it's hard to remember what teams you meet with, and but we are glad to hear that you believe you've talked to them, and we would love to see you end up a Los Angeles Ram, obviously. But no matter where you go, we're going to be fans of yours. But it's kind of a final question just to wrap it up. In your words, who is Ross Pierschbacher, the player, and who is he as a person?
Yeah, as a player, he's a tough, smart player who's super consistent. A guy that you can always trust on to get the job done. And then as a person, he's kind, nice, funny, joke around a lot, like to have fun. And yeah, I think I'm also just super trustworthy and know that, again, I'm going to be able to get the job done in whatever you ask me to do in life even. And that'll always be there. So.
Hey, we love that. Great answer. We do find you very trustworthy. Just being able to come on the show, we really appreciate you, taking that time. And like Alexis said, anytime you come on this podcast, we're fans for life. So, wish you the best, man. You stay healthy, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you guys for having me. And hopefully, wherever I end up, it's just a good career and have good experiences in the NFL for sure. So, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, Ross. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.